Hi everybody, Lord Mayhem here for the Insanity Walkthrough for Mass Effect 2. This is the last mission, No One Left Behind, and this will give you the strategy for getting your entire crew out intact and the No One Left Behind trophy, as well as combat strategy for the entire mission. Now the first thing to bear in mind is that before going through the Omega-4 relay, all of your crew should be loyal, and 3 major Normandy upgrades should be completed. The first upgrade is the heavy ship armor that is suggested by Jacob, which costs 15,000 palladium to research. This will prevent Jack from dying in the initial Oculus attack, shortly after which he will be boarded by the Oculus and you'll have to take a squad down to the cargo bay to fight it off. What you can do is stand behind this tall piece of cover here in the center of the console. You can stand next to it and cheat the corner, attack the Oculus with whatever weapons you have. You can use heavy weapons if you want, but it would be better to save that for a later, more difficult area you may need it for. In the meantime, the Oculus will go in and out of the hold of the Normandy until you get it down to about half its life. But you can stand behind this piece of console and continuously cheat the corner until it flees. If you're a soldier, make use of Adrenaline Rush for the additional damage bonus, and to dodge it if it happens to shift out of position and into one where it can actually hit you. Once the Oculus leaves, you'll encounter another series of cinematics, which will bring you to the second upgrade that's required. This is the multi-core shielding, which is suggested by Tally, which requires 15,000 palladium to research. This will prevent a second crew member from dying in the impact. Kasumi is, of course, most likely on the list. After this, the Oculus that had been fighting you will return to the cargo hold, and you'll be in a different position to start the fight. You can do one of two things in this battle. Either try to remain behind these turbines that are in the middle of the cargo hold and continuously maneuver around. However, the Oculus is usually tall enough that it can shoot over these and still hit you. The other thing that you can do is move back to your original position behind the control console and just continue to cheat the corner. Now this is a little bit more of a difficult proposition because the Oculus doesn't always stay on the opposite side of the console as it did the first time you fought it. It'll move back and forth, so you'll have to use these additional 2 angled supports on either side of the console as additional cover. You can see the Oculus will actually move above the console and out of position. So just continue to attack it. If you are getting hit by it, just maneuver around behind one of these pillars or behind the console and try again. By firing from safety like this, it doesn't take long to wear the Oculus down to nothing with very little risk to your safety. One thing to be aware of is, though, when the Oculus does leave the hold, it can come back through any of the 3 breaches, so keep a close eye on where it is. This one kind of took me by surprise. Luckily it was attacking one of the other squad. Just continue to fire on it and eventually you'll get the cinematic of it being destroyed. You'll have another short cinematic where the collector's ship emerges from the base and begins an attack on you. This will bring us to the third and final Normandy upgrade that's required to prevent death during the approach to the collector base, and that is the Thanix cannon, sort of Mass Effect's answer to the wave motion gun. Suggested by Garrus, it will require 15,000 platinum to research, and as you can see, has deadly effects. Without the Thanix cannon, you have the potential to lose a third crew member during this exchange. After the fight, you'll crash on the collector base, and this will begin a series of missions where you're required to select specific crew member to perform certain tasks according to their specialties. Stage 1's the vents, involves dividing up into 2 teams and have tech specialists go through the vents. Choose Legion, Tally, or Kasumi to go into the vents, and choose either Garrus, Miranda, or Jacob as the fire team leader. Choosing an incorrect or disloyal crew member for either role will result in the death of the tech specialist. Once you've selected the specialist and the fire team leader for the mission, you'll get a short cinematic that shows your crew falling out of the Normandy, and then the mission proper will begin. You'll get frequent updates from the tech specialist as they move through the vents. Eventually they'll encounter an obstruction that will prevent them from proceeding until you advance and turn a valve. There will be a total of 8 valves, and you'll have 2 minutes to reach each one and activate it to allow the technician to proceed, otherwise they'll die of excessive heat. The first valve doesn't have a time limit, so you can take your time on this initial battle and fight, or you can advance up the left-hand side using your squad to catch the collectors in a crossfire. As always, drones or guardians that are left on their own will spawn a harbinger, so it's in your best interest to try and take them out first. I'm advancing up the left-hand side now in an effort to speed this mission along. You'll see that I've left my squad to draw their fire from one direction, while I move up and attack them on their flank. Wave 2 will bring another 3 drones. Again, not much to worry about at this point. However, these drones, if they notice you on the side, will loop back around through the back of the area and start attacking down this other corridor. So keep an eye out in case they try to flank you. Luckily, this portion of the mission is relatively easy. There's plenty of cover, there's no time limit, and there are relatively few enemies. However, you'll notice that on this stage, harbingers will spawn frequently and quickly. One more on the radar, catch it in the crossfire from the side. Use your adrenaline rush to slow down the attack and grant the additional damage bonus if you're a soldier.
Right behind you.
Once everyone's cleared out, advance to the first switch, and this will begin the timed portion of this mission. You'll see I have Legion in the vents. Instead of hitting the switch right away, I'm actually advancing past the switch and triggering the next set of enemies. Since each switch has a 2-minute time limit to activate the next switch in sequence, it's always in your best interest to make use of that time and advance, take out as many enemies past the switch as possible before running back and activating it. Later on in the mission, where there's an extreme amount of enemies, the extra time that you'll save by doing this will be the only thing that saves you. Okay, we're down to the last 20 seconds. Come back, hit the switch, then advance. You'll notice that the next switch is again right there. That would have been a waste of 2 minutes had I just run up, hit that switch, and proceeded. So instead of hitting that switch right away, I'm going to continue and take care of these enemies first, using that 2 minutes wisely. If you can use your adrenaline rush if you're a soldier to hit these drones before they land, you can usually take out 1 or 2 of them while they're still flying through the air, leaving just the Harbinger to deal with. Again, use the swaying side to side to avoid the black fireballs that they throw that knock you out of cover. You see there, I nearly avoided getting one in the face. But if you see them coming at you, just sway in one direction, then as the fireball compensates, sway in the other direction, and it will corkscrew around you. So I've hit the second valve, and I'm going to move past the third valve and see if anything else spawns. I believe there will be another couple of enemies just around this corner. Nope, maybe not. Alright, so failing that, we come back, hit the switch. And that will be the third valve. There are enemies past the fourth valve, just around this corner. This one's a little further away, so make sure that you leave yourself enough time to get back to the switch. There'll be a number of drones, and the Harbinger will be spawned already before it lands, so you'll have to deal with one immediately. Kill as many drones as you can before hitting the switch. You won't be able to kill them all in this initial wave, but you can at least put a dent in them to put that 2 minutes to good use. This is a really tough area to get shots off on just from the angle. You'll want to stay back though, because you want to be able to extricate yourself as quickly as possible when the time runs down. You'll see I'm actually leaving this one a little late. Run back, hit the switch, and to get to the 5th valve is actually a little bit of a struggle. You will have to fight these drones right away, and usually it takes about a minute or so to wipe out the rest of them, depending on how many you manage to take out in the initial 2 minutes. You can see the switch there in the background on the upper right. So it's not very far, but it is through enemy-occupied territory. Depending on how many drones you're able to kill in the first section, you may actually have to just charge through the lines, taking enemy fire, to reach the switch before the 2 minutes is up. But you do have a little bit of leeway. You'll notice that Legion has only just now reached the switch, or reached the valve area. So you have 2 minutes from the point at which he announces that he can no longer advance to run and hit that switch. So it gives you a little extra buffer, especially if your class is not a particularly combat-ready class like a soldier would be. If it takes you a little bit longer to blow through each wave, then you can take advantage of that additional time. You see, I've moved up now to stand near the next switch in the sequence. There are only 2 drones and the Harbinger, but because of the construction of this area and the way the cover is, it's kind of a dangerous place to be in. The Harbinger is in a raised position. He can get around while still above you and shoot at you from relative safety. Luckily, with the extra punch the warp ammo gave and the squad attacking it, I was able to take it out fairly quickly. So that's the 5th valve. Move ahead to the next valve, and again go past it before triggering it. This is kind of a critical one because I'm going to show you a little trick in a moment. These 3 drones are accompanied by an assassin that's just around the corner. You can't see it from here, but immediately after engaging them, they'll try to run into the next area. Usually you're able to eliminate 1 or 2 of them before they get up onto the upper area there. I'm making use of my 2 minutes now. You'll see the timer is clicking down awfully quickly. If you can move up and kill the assassin too, that's great, but it isn't necessary to rush at this point. Again, I'm leaving the time rather late. I think I may have lost track this time and ran back at literally the last second. If necessary, you can use Adrenaline Rush to actually dilate time. You'll move at a normal speed even though time is slowed down. So that's a little trick. Once you kill this last assassin and all the enemies from the previous wave are dead, don't even bother attacking any other drones. Just run up, hit the 7th valve, and immediately charge the next area. Storm right up to the 8th valve, hit it, and you'll be done this section of the mission. If you aren't able to reach any of the vents before the timer runs out, or you've selected the incorrect or disloyal crew member for either of the 2 roles, the tech specialist in the vents will die. If you followed this guide, however, the cinematic will play out showing the tech specialist hacking the door, granting you access to the 2nd stage of this mission. That brings us to the end of Part 1 of No One Left Behind, the Insanity walkthrough for Mass Effect 2. Coming soon will be Part 2, covering the Seeker Swarms and the Long Walk. I'm Lord Mame. Thanks for watching.